Hello and welcome to Annie's Short Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Unfinished Portrait. In the quaint town of Willow Creek, where cobblestone streets wound lazily between centuries-old buildings and the air was perpetually scented with the aroma of fresh bread from the local bakery, a shadow had fallen. Elias Thornwood, the town's most celebrated artist, lay lifeless on the floor of his studio. His easel stood sentinel over him, bearing witness to his final, unfinished masterpiece. The portrait, exquisite in its incompleteness, featured a figure whose face remained a haunting blur, as if the very essence of their identity had been snatched away by death itself. Holly Arnold stepped into the studio, her eyes scanning the scene. Something was off. The paintbrush lay discarded, not placed neatly as Elias always did. And that smell faint but unmistakable. Poison. She knelt beside the body, her fingers brushing over the smeared palette of colors on the floor. Elias Thornwood, renowned for capturing the souls of his subjects, had been silenced before he could finish his work. But why? Her gaze returned to the portrait. The figure was draped in a rich, emerald gown, the folds of fabric rendered with meticulous care. A delicate hand rested on a book, and in the background, a window opened to a moonlit garden. Yet the face only partially sketched offered no clues. It was as if the subject's identity had been deliberately withheld, a secret taken to the grave. Holly stood, her mind racing. This was no accident. Elias had been murdered, and the key to his killer lay in the portrait. She would need to fill in the blanks, to see what others could not. For Holly Arnold was not just a detective, she was an artist's daughter, raised among canvases and pigments, her eye trained to notice the details that others missed. The investigation begins. The investigation began quietly, as most things did in Willow Creek. Holly interviewed Elias's friends and fellow artists, but no one knew who the subject of the portrait was. Elias was secretive about his latest work, said Margaret. He said it was his greatest piece yet. The revelation. The word lingered in Holly's mind as she returned to the studio. She examined the portrait again, her eyes tracing the lines of the gown, the curve of the hand. There a glint of gold on the subject's finger. A ring adorned with a crest. It was familiar, yet she couldn't place it. She sketched it in her notebook, determined to find its match. As days passed, Holly delved deeper into Elias's life. He had been a beloved figure, eccentric but kind, with no known enemies. Yet rumors whispered of an old rivalry with another artist, Victor Grayson, whose style had fallen out of favor. Elias stole my patrons. But I wouldn't kill him for it. His alibi was solid, and Holly moved on, though unease gnawed at her. It was in Elias's sketchbook that she found the first real clue. Tucked among studies of hands and landscapes was a rough drawing of the portrait's subject. The face was more defined here, a high cheekbone, a strand of dark hair escaping a jeweled pin. And in the margin, a name, Lena. Lena. Holly's pulse quickened. Lena Caldwell, the young heiress who had vanished a decade ago. Her disappearance had been the scandal of Willow Creek, her fate unknown. Some said she had fled an arranged marriage, others whispered of foul play. The case had never been solved, and Lena was presumed dead. But if Elias had been painting Lena, what did it mean? Was she alive, hidden in plain sight? Or was the portrait a memorial, a tribute to a lost soul, uncovering the past? Holly's investigation led her to the town's archives, where she pored over old newspapers. She found a photograph of Lena from a society ball, her smile radiant, her dark hair gleaming. And there, on her finger, the same crested ring from the portrait. It was undeniable Lena was the subject. But why had Elias been painting her now after all these years? And who would kill to keep the portrait unfinished? The answer lay in the portrait's background, Holly realized. The moonlit garden was not just any garden, it was the Caldwell estate, where Lena had last been seen. And through the window, half hidden in shadow, was a figure. A man, his face obscured, but his stance familiar. Holly squinted, her breath catching. There was something about the slope of his shoulders, the way he leaned against the gate. She knew that stance. It belonged to Thomas Caldwell, Lena's brother, now the sole heir to the family fortune. He had always claimed innocence in his sister's disappearance, but rumors had swirled around him for years. Had Elias discovered the truth? Was the portrait meant to expose Thomas as Lena's killer? Holly's heart pounded as she pieced it together. Elias had been painting not just Lena, but the scene of her murder. The unfinished face was a statement Lena's story was incomplete, her justice denied. And Thomas, desperate to keep his secret, had silenced Elias before the truth could be revealed. But she needed proof. Holly returned to the studio, searching for anything that could confirm her theory. In a drawer, she found a letter half-written in Elias's elegant script to the people of Willow Creek. I have uncovered a truth that has been buried for too long. Lena Caldwell did not vanish, she was taken from us, and her killer walks free. My final portrait will. The letter ended abruptly, the pen discarded beside it. It was enough. Holly knew what she had to do. The trap. She set a trap, announcing that she would finish the portrait herself using Elias's sketches, and unveil it at the town's art festival. It's what he would have wanted, she said. His face paled, but he said nothing. The night of the festival, the gallery buzzed with anticipation. Ollie stood beside the easel, the portrait covered by a cloth. Thomas lingered at the back, his eyes darting nervously. As the clock struck 8, Holly pulled the cloth away, revealing the completed portrait. She had painted Lena's face with care, her expression serene yet accusing. And in the background, the figure of Thomas was clearer now, his features unmistakable. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Thomas stepped forward, his voice trembling. This is a lie. Elias was mad. You knew nothing. Then explain this, she said. Elias was going to expose you, Thomas. You killed him to keep your secret, just as you killed Lena. I didn't mean to, he whispered. It was an accident. Lena found out about the embezzlement. She was going to tell our father. He sank to his knees, tears streaming down his face. And Elias, he figured it out. I had no choice. The confession hung in the air. The townspeople stared, horrified, as Holly signaled to the officers waiting in the wings. Thomas was led away, his head bowed in defeat. Resolution. In the quiet aftermath, Holly sat in Elias's studio, the portrait resting on the easel. It was complete now, a testament to both the artist and his subject. Lena's face, once a mystery, now gazed out with quiet dignity, her story finally told. Holly traced the lines of the painting, her fingers lingering on the crested ring. She had filled in the blanks, just as she had promised herself. And in doing so, she had not only solved a murder but had brought peace to her restless soul. The town of Willow Creek would remember Elias Thornwood, not just for his art, but for his courage. And Holly Arnold, the young detective with the artist's eye, had proven that some portraits unfinished or not could speak louder than words. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.